How can we take control of our own destiny in a world that's being run by maniacs that are hell-bent on controlling every single aspect of our lives? It's Thursday night. It's Gareth Ike Tonight. Where is your line in the sand? Surely everyone has one. In recent times, some of you drew your line pretty quickly. I'm a free, sovereign human being and I'll dictate my own future. Thank you very much. But for others, shutting down their businesses, destroying their livelihoods and experimenting on their kids still wasn't deemed worthy of resistance. And now, because of the blind acceptance of many things on the part of the fluoride-intoxicated masses, we find ourselves in a world full of unexplained excess deaths on the brink of an economic Armageddon where women have penises. The UK is sending depleted uranium bullets to a lunatic in Ukraine. A quarter of Americans are on mental health medication. China is building 2 coal-fired power stations a week, while here in the UK we are literally blowing ours up, making the choice between eat or heat an everyday coin flip in many homes here. Oh, and Russia and China have joined forces to no doubt stand upon the ashes of the self-sabotaging West. There needs to be a realization that the people you elect to serve don't serve you. You mean less than nothing to them, and we need to stop complying with them. Draw that line. Now, here's an analogy that popped into my head, as they do occasionally. You are one of 100 men in 100 huts, all in a circle, and a deadly snake enters the middle, hissing, rearing itself up, threatening and hungry. What do you do? Now, the answer here is simple. There's 100 of you. Come out of your huts, organize yourselves in a formation and take the head off the snake. But you don't, because the snake for centuries has made you believe you are safest in your hut. It's made you believe the other 99 men, they're the enemy. It's separated you from each other. It's isolated you. The snake hoodwinked you into protecting what little material possessions you can fit in there as if it will somehow sustain you through life, which of course it won't. And all the while the snake is going from hut to hut, from door to door, taking out each man individually while you turn up the volume on bargain hunt to drown out the screams. You keep telling yourself it isn't happening. The government would protect you if it was. You're just following the science and you're getting your information from a trusted news source. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's just a choice. The many could join forces, but that window of opportunity to make that choice is narrowing. On the show this week, we're joined by geopolitical journalist Patrick Henningsen. We're going to be talking about Russia, Ukraine, and the insanity of the UK sending depleted uranium-coated bullets to Ukraine. Constitutional law expert William Keat is in the studio to provide some solutions for us. What do we do to protect ourselves when this impending financial collapse finally hits? Lewis Brackpool will be breaking down the 15-minute city. What is it? And why should we resist it? And as always, Alice the journalist will be fact-checking the mainstream with her weekly lie detector.
As we know that media and social media are colluding with the deep state or with intelligence agencies. So the feeling you get at the street or at the protest is that clearly everybody is opposed to the war. Just a very small minority is really trying to keep the war going and want to send weapons and even troops. And your father was one of the speakers actually at the first freedom protest in November, and he got banned for 2 years. And that court case is coming up in June. But that shows that all these narratives are connected and that none of them is allowed to fall. And what you're saying now with the uranium bullets, this is clearly a provocation trying to sabotage the peace meeting that might happen when Xi Jinping goes to Ukraine. And we heard from Secretary of State Blinken that the whole idea of the International Criminal Court is to subpoena or to file an arrest warrant for Putin just to keep the war going, to stoke against peace, actually.
The constitutional law that was set up correctly originally in order to protect our liberties. It's really that simple. It's kind of been overlooked, probably by the help of them miseducating us along the way, incrementally. that's largely been the problem. A lot of obfuscation, a lot of confusion, quite deliberately. But if we were to get clear and embrace that constitutional law, and we did it quickly, and we understood the principles on which it's based, I think that could create a lot of pressure and probably quite a lot of turmoil on their side. And I think that would cause things to return quite quickly to how it should be. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Definitely people in the UK are concerned about, because as you know, and as everybody else knows from the Iraq War, there was a lot of focus from the anti-war movement about the use of depleted uranium in Iraq and the awful legacy that left that country in terms of reports about birth defects, the poisoning of water and soil, and rise in cancer rates and things like this, just absolutely horrible. So this is the legacy of depleted uranium. But here's the real shocker: there has been depleted uranium munitions trafficked into Ukraine for the last year. Other NATO partners have been sending lots of this material in through their weapons. Chief of those would probably be France. They've been sending in these various anti-tank systems, like the Javelin systems as well. Some of this is difficult to confirm, but it's also possible, I will add, that Britain has already sent in depleted uranium rounds through some of these other weapon systems that they've shipped either from Sweden via Britain and then into Ukraine, or other ones that it's difficult to tell. There would need to be some kind of an audit from the OPCW. It would be nice if these international organizations would do something, do some real work for a change, and this certainly would be a job worth doing. And the United States has likely been sending in DU rounds into Ukraine through these various weapon shipments as well. And I'm not even addressing the other third-party countries that are shipping arms and weapons and munitions into Ukraine. So it's a mess, to be frank.